Come on in, guys. Welcome to Idled Out, where we talk all things Survivor. My name is Luke, and today we're examining the gameplay of Parvati Shallow, specifically her 5 best moves of all time across her 4 seasons playing Survivor. This is the second in a series where we examine the greatest plays of some of Survivor's biggest legends. And because we're fair and balanced here at Idled Out, we'll be talking about Parvati's single worst move too. Hey, nobody's perfect. And what better player to examine than Parvati Shallow, almost universally recognized as one of the greatest players of all time, both socially and strategically. She's also had one of the fullest Survivor experiences of any player ever, finishing in every position you can, as winner, runner-up, post-merge juror, and pre-merger. Really, Parvati is the full Survivor package. Her reads are incredible, her social game is on point, and she was a huge part of one of the most iconic alliances in Survivor history. What more can you ask for? From hot tub adventures to inspiring so much fear in the heroes tribe that their brains turn into putty, how does this video translate to the bedroom? What makes the cut and what doesn't?
How does that resonate for you in the bedroom? How do you take that to the next level as far as strategy in the game?
From season 13 to season 40, let's count down Parvati's 5 best and single worst moves ever. Parvati's 5th best move ever is clinching Cirie's loyalty in the early days of Survivor Micronesia. At the start of Micronesia, the favorites tribe split into 2 factions almost immediately: Parvati, Amanda, Ozzy, and James on one side, and Jonathan, Yao-Man, Eliza, and Amy on the other. And in the middle are Cirie and Johnny Fairplay. After the favorites' mercy vote Fairplay out since Danny Bonaducci broke his face weeks before the game, true story, Cirie's sole vote is the difference between life and death for the couples alliance and the not couples alliance. Cirie questions Parv and Amanda's flirting with James and Ozzy, but Parvati assures her it's all strategy, saying that it's how they keep the guys loyal and in line, basically telling Cirie exactly what she needs to hear to ensure she won't end up as an awkward 5th wheel on this double date. And then she wins Cirie over completely when Cirie wants to target Yao-Man, and Parvati is the only member of her alliance who recognizes that you gotta give the swing vote what they want if, you want them to swing your way. Courting Cirie paid dividends for Parvati and the rest of her alliance, getting all 5 of them to the merge, where Parvati, Amanda, and Cirie could drop the men and form a much, much better alliance. Parvati's 4th best move is tipping off Amanda to play the immunity idol at the final 6 of Survivor Micronesia, as well as convincing her to idle out Alexis instead of Natalie. The Black Widow Brigade has at this point achieved almost all their goals. They've taken out Ozzy. They've taken out Mini Ozzy. They've taken out James. Well, I guess his own finger did that, but they would have taken out James. And the only thing stopping the Black Widow Brigade from total domination of the endgame of Micronesia is an ice cream scooper in running shorts. At Final 6, Eric wins immunity, causing the Women's Alliance to turn on itself for the first time out of necessity. Cirie, Natalie, and Alexis are coming straight for Amanda, thinking that she'd win jury votes because she has less blood on her hands than anyone else. Parvati, as Amanda's closest ally, tips her off that she's the target. Amanda plays an idol that she found at the 11th hour and sends Alexis to the jury bench with just Amanda and Parvati's votes, ensuring that the fans wouldn't be able to take control at the final 5. Parvati also convinced Amanda to target Alexis over Natalie, a smart move because the former is a public speaker who likely would have slayed at a final tribal council and who was generally more influential on Island. Parvati straight up worm-tongued this move, ostensibly acting as Amanda's trusted advisor while really fixing the game in the direction she wanted it to go. Parvati's 3rd best move is blindsiding Ozzy at the final 9 of Survivor Micronesia. To understand the significance of Ozzy's blindside, you've got to understand that at this point, Ozzy seemed genuinely undefeatable. He had an idol. He was the greatest challenge competitor in Survivor history. He'd gone the full 39 days in his last game in Cook Islands. and he'd survived a post-swap attempted blindside by Amy and Tracy. He even entered the merge in Micronesia at the center of a large majority alliance, and all signs pointed to yet another deep run, whether by immunity or immunity idol. At Final 9, Jason, who's clearly next on the chopping block, opts to weirdly give up immunity in exchange for everyone's promise that they won't vote him out.
I'd need a guarantee, that I'm not going home.
Who do you want a guarantee from?
Everyone.
You should have at least gotten a pinky promise, Siska. Words are cheap on Survivor. But with Ozzy, James, Eric, and Amanda voting Jason, Sari realizes that herself, Parvati, Natalie, Alexis, and Jungle Boy himself have just enough numbers to blindside Ozzy. So where does Parvati factor in here? Well, while Sari is the architect of the move, Parvati was at a crossroads, either to go with the Black Widow Brigade she so carefully crafted in the post-swap portion of the game, or stick to the couple's alliance which carried her through the first few votes. Well, I'm sure you know which way she went. She made the executive decision to fully commit to the Black Widows, spun a web of lies to Ozzy that kept his idol out of play, and pulled off one of the biggest blindsides in Survivor history. The Black Widow blindside ensured two things. One, there was a new majority alliance in town. And two, Survivor cinematographers would be scrambling to get a whole lot more footage of spiders to use during the rest of the season. Parvati's second best move ever is forming the Black Widow Brigade in Survivor Micronesia, whose numbers were critical to pretty much every single epic blindside that happened in the post-merge of fans versus favorites.
It's like the Black Widow Brigade. Like all the girls are coming together and we're spinning the guys around as much as we can, just spinning them until they don't know which way's up, and then we're devouring them. One at a time.
By the swap, Parvati and Amanda were thick as thieves, and along with James and Ozzy, had a solid foursome with Sari as their fifth. But when Parvati and Amanda were split up at the swap, Parvati saw it as a great chance to pick up some new allies. Enter Natalie and Alexis, who Parvati brought into the larger favorites alliance with the promise that at the merge, Ozzy and James will take the hits and Parvati, Amanda, Natalie, and Alexis can slide under the radar right to the final four. At the merge, it was the addition of Natalie and Alexis that gave the Black Widows the numbers to take out Ozzy, and also their additional voting power that ensured Amanda stayed loyal after being blindsided by that vote, even as her dream of having little island Ozlets was so cruelly crushed. Parvati was both creator of that alliance as well as the glue between Natalie and Alexis and Sari and Amanda. Not only was this an ingenious alliance on the island, but it has quite the legacy too. The Black Widows struck fear into the hearts of men for the following decade plus, with Survivor players to this day still afraid of the quote, dreaded female alliance. Ah, oh no, women! Parvati's worst move ever is, well, it's tough to say. Very rarely has Parvati zigged when she should have zagged. And while it's tempting to say that her willingness to go to the final three with Sari over Natalie in Micronesia is her worst, I'm not sure I agree, because I think jury votes are made and broken at Final Tribal, and Parvati still would have had a decent shot even against Sari. So I'll say that Parvati's worst move ever is voting out Jenny over Jonathan at the Final 10 of Survivor Cook Islands. At Final 11, New Raro loses immunity and is told after Tribal Council they'll be opening this mysterious bottle, which most of them assume contains a note announcing a merge. At Tribal, they vote out Rebecca and are all set to enter the merge with a 6-4 majority, but then Jeff opens the suspicious bottle, which says they have to vote off another player immediately. Now would be a great time for the New Raro Alliance to jettison Jonathan Penner, but they keep him and vote out Jenny instead on rather shaky logic. Their thinking is, Penner's already flipped once, there's no way he'd flip again. Right? This was a devastating blow to Parvati's game. Jenny was a sure thing at the merge, and it's not like Parvati and Jonathan had great rapport or anything.
Why don't we start a fire and let's make this floor? You know what I mean? Because it's going to be night 4 and we still don't have a real shelter for ourselves.
It's tough to say how a pennerless merge would have shaken out, what with Yule's idol, which was Akuma in Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo Levels of Broken. Even in this situation, Parvati still managed to make it to Final 6, but still, voting out Jenny over Jonathan remains for me Parvati's worst move ever. Parvati's single greatest move, and perhaps the greatest move in Survivor history, is her double idol play at the Final 10 of Survivor Heroes vs. Villains. Throughout the entire pre-merge of Heroes vs. Villains, Parvati was the target of not only many of her own Villains tribe, but the entire Heroes tribe too. In fact, the Heroes were so narrowly focused on Parvati that JT gave Parvati's ally Russell an immunity idol at a pre-merge challenge, gift-wrapped and sealed with a kiss, just so Russell could idol out their imagined leader of their imagined women's alliance. Russell then gives Parvati the idol, knowing she'll be public enemy number 1 at the merge, unaware that Parvati already has her own idol. Pretty much everything Parvati does from here on is flawless Survivor play. At the immunity challenge, Parvati steps down and lets Danielle win, ensuring that her closest ally can't be targeted. That step down leads the heroes to believe that Parvati has an idol, and also because Parvati already told Amanda she did. So they change course, sending in their best spy to bait Parvati into playing her idol on herself, while they instead target Sandra or Jerry.
I just want to make sure it's not me that goes. Well, you better play that thing, just in case.
With acting skills like that, I see why Amanda was cast in Into the Blue too. At Tribal Council, Parvati makes one of the ballsiest and flashiest plays of all time, giving idol number 1 to Sandra, idol number 2 to Jerry, negating 5 Jerry votes, forcing Sandra to stick by the villains, and sends JT off to learn some banana etiquette at Ponderosa. Parvati, in one move, ensured full villain control for the rest of the game.
Well, in a game full of crazy moves, that was one of the craziest.
You can say that again, Jeff. Got nothing else for you. To form a couples alliance with me, like and subscribe, and I'll get you more Survivor content just like this. Until next time, don't get idled out.